We are in the beautiful country of Iceland. This is probably one of the best places that I have ever got to ride a motorcycle, and we are here to experience the second motorcycle from Norton, the revived Norton brand. This is the Atlas, and this right here is the one with the 19-inch alloy wheel at the front and the 17-inch alloy wheel at the rear, and this is the Apex variant, so it's fully kitted out with all of the electronic features and assists.
On this ride, we covered 200 kilometers mainly through some wide and open mountain roads with breathtaking views on either side, and also got to experience the motorcycle through an off-road trail to bring you our first impressions. First up, in terms of design, it has flowing lines like the Manx and looks pretty neat in the flesh. At the front, you have a unique headlight setup making it stand out. The triangular units on the side of the headlight are cornering lights and the indicators are situated on the handguards. The front windscreen is adjustable by pressing buttons on either side of it together, but that means you can only do it while stationary. The bike uses a 15.4 litre fuel tank that should be good for touring, and towards the rear it has a single piece seat, taillight integrated into the indicators and a luggage rack as well. The overall fit and finish is premium and it feels like a well-built motorcycle.
Now moving on to the ergonomics, this has a seat height of 845 mm. I'm around 5 foot 7 inches and here's how I fit on it. Now as you can see, I cannot completely flat foot to the ground. I am a shorter rider, but it is a really nice and commanding riding position. The foot pegs, as you can see, they are slightly more rear set, not as neutral for a adventure bike, but it's a really nice position, so you can even ride in that slightly sporty sense when you want to. And another thing that I really appreciate about the motorcycle is that it has a nice and wide handlebar as stock, which is also raised, so you can sit up in a really commanding posture.
This Apex variant has a weight of 192 kg without fuel, so with a full tank it should weigh 204 kilos. At a standstill it feels slightly heavy, but once on the move is easy to control. Another impressive bit was the seat, which felt extremely comfortable and didn't cause any soreness even after a full day of riding. Sitting in the steel trellis frame is a 585cc twin-cylinder engine making 70 horsepower and 57.5 Nm of peak torque. This also has a 270-degree crank and the cylinders are plasma coated, which Norton tells us reduces weight, lowers friction and improves reliability. It also gets a Quickshifter as standard, and an interesting bit is the 6-speed gearbox can be removed directly to work on without having to move or remove the engine. As you release the clutch to get going, the bike has potent torque pull in the low range RPMs and it flattens out at around 5000 RPM, after which the power delivery becomes more linear. It has a nice and aggressive exhaust note thanks to the 270-degree crank and feels smooth even at higher cruising speeds. There are a few vibrations felt in the high RPMs, but nothing that ruins the riding experience. The Quickshifter worked decently at speeds of around 60 km per hour, but at higher speeds felt like it cut power for a bit longer on upshifts, and that made it feel slightly jerky. Downshifts though felt perfectly fine. The 8-inch TFT touchscreen is similar to the one we have seen on the Manx R and gets a bunch of electronic assists including traction control, cruise control and even hill hold in this Apex variant.
You get heated grips as well, and today it was really nice to have all of these features because we were out in these lovely roads extending for kilometers on end, and you could just switch on the cruise control. It worked really well. The heated grips were really nice to have in these cold conditions. So yeah, overall it's a lovely package, especially this Apex variant with all the bells and whistles.
This one has 5 riding modes that alter throttle response, engine braking, traction control and ABS intervention at both the front and the rear depending on which mode you pick. I spent most of my time in touring mode and it was ideal for the roads we were riding on. Sport mode reduces the level of TC and ABS intervention for more aggressive riding, and Enduro mode slightly alters throttle response. What I liked about Enduro mode was the slide control feature, allowing you to fully open the throttle in gravel and get it slightly sideways without things getting risky. A nice touch is the traction control button on the left hand side switchgear that allows you to quickly disable the traction control feature. The screen is large, displays a ton of information and the touchscreen works well. Even the switchgear is unique and of good quality. The only drawback is that the screen takes a little too long to boot up, and it has a keyless ignition, which is a nice touch, but it needs you to press an unlock button on the key every time, making it a bit inconvenient while touring. Additionally, the windscreen does tend to cause buffeting at higher speeds, but in all fairness, it was really windy on the roads that we were riding.
Now, in terms of the suspension setup, you have a 43mm KYB Fox up front, and at the rear you have a remote preload adjustable monoshock, which is a nice thing. But as you can see, you're going to have to put your hand all the way inside here to get that setting right.
The suspension has 180 mm of travel at both ends, and the stock setup was ideal for our ride, with it feeling slightly on the stiffer side, allowing me to corner with confidence and also feeling really stable at high speeds. The chassis and suspension felt composed even with the strong crosswinds we faced on the open roads at higher speeds. Off-road, it was fun to tackle the gravel, but over large rocks the weight of the bike is felt and it feels a bit stiff to wade through. Overall, it is an all-out tourer with the ability to wade off-road when you need to, but nothing too hardcore. The bike is running on dual-purpose Eurogrip Explore Plus tires, and they impressed me throughout the day. Whether it was charging into corners at speed, riding over gravel, or tackling wet conditions, they offered loads of grip and plenty of confidence. The bike tipped into corners easily, stayed composed, and even in the rain, there wasn't a single moment where the tires felt sketchy. On paper, the braking setup looks good with twin discs at the front. These are bi-brake brakes with steel braided lines, but the feedback is another story. There is no initial bite when you grab the lever, and all the stopping power suddenly comes in when the lever is engaged halfway, making it feel a bit unnerving. Because of an electronically combined braking system, the stopping power is strong, but it comes in too suddenly, needing you to get used to modulating the brakes. Overall, the Norton Atlas is a promising touring bike, but what will decide its future in India is the pricing. Considering this is going to be built by TVS in India, we are hoping for an aggressive price tag. It has much more displacement than a 450cc bike, a little less than a 650cc, and with 70 horsepower of power, it is in a league of its own. But considering it is above 350cc, it will attract a 40% GST as well. The bike should launch in the upcoming months, and we are hoping to see a starting price of 5 to 5.5 lakh rupees ex-showroom. We shall bring you a more detailed review of how the bike performs in our conditions when we get to ride it in India.